In New York City, this squatter has won because he got this homeowner arrested. And now, believe it or not, New York City City Council wants to start a program where they will relocate these squatters, and guess who's gonna pay for it? My name's Grant Warrington, and I'm a real estate investor who's an expert on my own opinion. I bring you all the important videos you need to watch and a few you don't. Let's jump in.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found two men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmith. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs
They got one out.
and escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks.
So the good guys win, right? The story's over? Oh no, it gets much worse.
It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
How you doing?
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court. But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed, the man who claimed to be the one actually leasing the house showed up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police already took off the property.
These two guys are absolute dirtbags, and you're gonna have to stick around to the end of the video to see if they get what's coming to them.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. Yes, he did. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They considered this a landlord-tenant issue, and by law it had to be handled through housing court, not police. A court system where it could often take 2 years for a resolution.
2 years she's gonna have to fight with this guy while she has to pay the mortgage, utilities, taxes. This is ridiculous.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do
And
know how it
there's-
works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He said he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to
I'll
show
you the
it.
proof. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
This is-
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
He's got no lease, no documentation, and the police have absolutely no proof that he really lives there. Kick his ass out.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed
That's
is
what I was
current
told
and
already.
legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. In New York, you can't change the locks, cut off the utilities, or remove someone's belongings, or the homeowner can be arrested.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave, or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court. It's that simple.
That squatter is who New York City City Council wants to help. They want to help him find a new home. You're gonna say, Grant, that's ridiculous. I don't believe you. I wouldn't either, but listen, watch this. Here's the article, and I'm gonna show you exactly what they're trying to do. Eric, do me a favor, pull the article up and highlight it as I read along here so everybody can follow along. So New York squatters to get help under new plan. New York City Council member Camilla Hanks wants to create a task force that will help with the removal of squatters and assist them in finding housing if necessary. Listen, the housing they should be finding is jail. That's where they should be going. I don't think that New York City needs to be spending money to try and relocate these people. You're relocating criminals. You're gonna use taxpayer money to put these people into housing. And here's a little secret. They're probably not gonna pay wherever you put them either, or they're gonna remain in your system forever. They will never get out of it. And guess who's gonna pay? The taxpayers. So let's keep going with this article. Hanks, who is the primary sponsor of a bill to establish the task force, aims to amend New York City's administrative code to allow for the formation of the unit that will deal with the issues of squatting. They're essentially creating more government for taxpayers to pay. Instead of getting rid of the squatters and just kicking them out, Florida just passed a law, and if someone's squatting in your home, you can go to the sheriff's office, fill out some paperwork, the sheriff will go with you, and they will escort him off your property. Simple as that. No task force, there's no extra inflated government, and the taxpayers are not going to be responsible for whatever they're trying to create like they are here in New York. Sounds simple, right? Almost too simple for New York to understand. Although the issue has been dismissed by some as fear-mongering, squatting has gained national prominence in recent months. Some experts have said squatting, when someone occupies a home with no rights to the property, is rare. Others have expressed concerns that some landlords are exploiting the issue in an attempt to deny tenants who have legal claims to a property of their rights. Now, the person writing this article is making it sound like, oh, this only happens to a few people.
No big deal.
He's also making it sound like,
Oh, these are landlords that are trying to kick tenants out.
that is not true. Tenant rights and squatters' rights need to be completely separate. Squatters have no rights, tenants do. I'm a landlord and I'm completely against squatters having rights, but I am for tenants' rights. They do need that, and that's an important part of the system. We need to keep that in place, but you need to separate the two. They are not the same. Now, he's trying to make this sound like, oh, this isn't a big deal, but let's watch a clip and see what they say.
I'm the homeowner, and I'm being taken out in handcuffs.
After Adele's arrest, we received more than 100 messages from viewers saying they're in a similar situation. From a family dealing with a squatter since November of 2019, another since last April, and in one case, it took 25 months to get the squatters out.
25 months to get a squatter out. Do you still think this isn't that big of a deal? New York is considered to have relatively lenient laws when it comes to squatters, where an individual can lay claim to residency if they've lived on a residential property for at least a decade or 20 years for land that was initially vacant. They have to be taking steps to maintain the property. In the city, to evict an accused squatter can take time and the legal process can be cumbersome. It's actually 30 days in New York City. I'm not sure where he got the information from, but if someone can show that they lived in a property for 30 days, then those squatters have legal right to the property. That is wrong, and that needs to be changed. A recent poll by Redfield and Wilton Strategies conducted for Newsweek found that more than 70% of New Yorkers approve of legislative efforts to change regulations on squatting in the city. What's going on with the other 30%? You think that people should be able to go in and take over other people's homes? That is absolutely ridiculous, and I cannot believe this number isn't higher than 70%. One squatter in the city is facing allegations that include forging documents and locking out the owner, charges that could result in 15 years in jail. I guarantee nothing's gonna happen to this squatter in New York City. They're gonna let him go, and it sounds like they're gonna try and find him new housing. What a great idea, New York. Hanks, in her bill for a new task force to deal with the issue, suggested that the new team will work towards creating a framework to evict squatters. Now that sounds like a lot more work, a lot more government, and a lot more taxpayers' dollars. This blows my mind. This bill would create an interagency task force to address issues regarding squatting in the city, including the removal of persons squatting on properties, helping them find legitimate housing, according to a summary of the legislation. The legislation will also aim to clarify the responsibility of owners, especially for properties that are not currently occupied. Properties where people are or might be squatting, communicating with the owners of abandoned properties to ensure that such properties do not remain abandoned, and notifying the owners of abandoned properties of their obligation to maintain such properties, and enforcing that obligation, the summary added. So to me, this sounds like, guess what they're gonna do? To battle squatting, they're gonna go after the homeowners, all right? These poor homeowners have already been screwed multiple times, but now what they're gonna do is they're gonna create a task force that the homeowners and everyone else is gonna have to pay for, that actually pays taxes. And they are gonna target those homeowners of abandoned buildings and more than likely fine them. They're gonna prosecute them and possibly arrest them if they feel that those properties are sitting abandoned too long. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Put it in the comments if I'm missing something or if I'm just insane and think this is ridiculous. I think they need to go after the squatters, and let's get tough on squatters. Let's not get tough on homeowners that owned a property or maybe vacation out of state, right? Let's get focused on the squatters and let's make them pay and kick them out and not then provide housing for them. This is absolutely ridiculous to me, and I cannot understand why people like this get elected, and I hope they don't again. This is ridiculous.
These are the laws on the books.
Our investigation sparked rallies across the area, from Queens.
We have to get rid of the 30-day rule. The 30-day rule is insane.
To Brooklyn, calling for change.
What more needs to be done to protect property owners?
Write a bill that does not give squatters rights. I mean, millions and millions of people have watched your video and look at this and say, how could this be happening? The world is upside down.
Finally, some lawmakers talking common sense.
And that's what happened. Lawmaker.
It's becoming more and more a problem.
After lawmaker.
We need to make a change.
After lawmaker filed bills to try and prevent squatting from happening.
It's something we absolutely needed to take quick action on.
While lawmakers worked at the state capitol to try and get the legislation passed as part of the new state budget, prosecutors dropped the charges against Adele. Prosecutors charged the accused squatter, Brian Rodriguez, with burglary, grand larceny, and possession of stolen property.
Brian, anything to say about what happened today?
He pled not guilty, walking out of the courtroom with his head and eyes covered.
Is this guy hiding his face because he has like a legitimate job he has to go to, or he's thinking of running for office one day? I don't understand why he's got to cover up. He's on the news, and now he feels he needs to protect his identity. He should have thought about that in the first place. If this fires you up as much as it does me, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and make sure you follow for more content. My name's Grant Warrington, and I got another video right here that's really gonna get you fired up. So make sure you click here, and I'll see you in this next video.